Yo.
This is a Danger Entertainment podcast. DangerEntertainment.net. Danger Entertainment Podcast Network.
Yeah.
Geek Speak, the definitive 365 cut. These are the meaningless ramblings of a Scottish we-done whore and a pissy ex-video store clerk. Their ongoing mission is to set right the movie wrongs. They're gonna need a bigger podcast.
Hello and welcome to the 365 Flicks podcast. We are back again.
365 Flicks podcast.
Stop that.
Toby did it first.
You're not Toby.
365. I'm not. I don't
You've
have
not been in Game of Thrones, have
don't
you?
have his dot. Ooh, spoilers.
It's not spoilers.
6 weeks though.
It's announced.
Yeah. Well.
Well, it is now.
What's he
Anyway,
playing? What's he playing? Nobody's gonna tell us. What's he playing? We'll just make a guess.
the reincarnation of Tywin Lannister.
Ooh. He has the hair.
He doesn't.
He doesn't.
No.
I have a theory that he's obviously going to be a man of Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be like one of the bankers of Dawn. Because he's a very good banker. So I've heard. So I've been told by him.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be, or he could be, what's his name? He was in Star Trek. And then he was in Arrow. Not Arrow. Gotham.
We're in the flying...
Alexander Siddig.
All right.
Right? He was in Game of Thrones, wasn't he?
Yeah.
One of them.
Right. Anyway, so...
Oberyn's people, the Sand Snakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a Sand Snake.
Right.
He has the hair.
That's the hair.
He does. So
we're not here to talk about Game of Thrones, are we, Kevin?
well, you started it.
I did not.
You did. You were like, oh, Toby Osmond's going to be in Game of Thrones. Woo.
We are not here to talk about that.
No, we are not.
We are finally here
Finally.
to talk about Stairs.
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 The movie Stairs.
Stairs.
By none other than Thomas Paton, our good friend Tom Paton. We became awesomely good friends back in the day listen to me, when I reviewed the movie Pandorica. We both loved Pandorica. Pandorica was a great film. Reviewed it. Tom got in touch with us. I'm sure if you've listened to the podcast before, you have heard this story.
Yeah, you tell a lot.
I have regaled people with this tale many a time. And he got in touch with me. He's like, yo, dude, love your writing. You're pretty awesome. Can I come on your podcast? He didn't ask to come on the podcast. No, I asked him. Like it was a long process, but it worked. He came on the show, figured out that we are two awesome British chaps, as he is, and the rest, as they say, was history.
And then we went to see Stairs being filmed. So we went to see Stairs being filmed, and
Dan Seth.
after that, we have had the pleasure of having dose of folk on the show.
Yeah.
And on this episode, we're going to let you hear some.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
We can't be giving them all the goodness straight away.
We're going to let you hear some of the interviews that we've done. And I think that you will enjoy them.
I think you will as well.
So there we go.
All two of them. But first,
What?
this is the 365 Flicks podcast. We are talking Stairs. This is part one. But you need to do some pimpage.
Well, we're here to talk about Stairs. So
Well,
I'm
we
not
are,
gonna
but
go-
you
I'm
know,
not gonna go on about it.
no. Don't slack off on your duties, all right? Tell people where they can find us.
Facebook and Twitter.
Right, okay. That's all you need to do,
Thank you.
all right? So, who's on this episode, Chris? Do you remember?
So, yeah, we have Sam Schnitzler,
We do.
who is awesome,
She's amazing. I love Sam.
and Bentley,
Damn, that would...
the man.
Honestly, man, see, listening back to these interviews, like when I've been editing them and stuff, like the interview with Sam is really, really good. I love the interview with Sam because we kind of get into it with Sam. Like, she's telling us about her fitness and her wellness, and because she has her own podcast. Go and listen to that podcast. It's an awesome podcast. You will hear about it in the interview, so I'll not talk about it right now, as I can't remember the name. But we talk about the interview. And we get into some of the stuff. She was in Wonder Woman, dude. We talk about Wonder Woman for a little bit. The Amazonians. The Amazonians. But, yeah, and then we had the chance to speak to Bentley. Bentley's just awesome. I love Bentley.
Speaking to Bentley, was one of the most fun interviews that I've done.
It was just so cool.
Great.
He's just such a, like... And like, it's so funny because we were on about, like, how he does video game voiceovers as well, and we actually got him to do...
Ooh, I got cred from friend of the show, Paul Byrne, because he likes The Division.
Sweet. He was in The Division, wasn't he? He did a voice.
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes.
So, like, he was doing, like, some voices for us and all that, and that was awesome. Like, I loved speaking to Bentley. But I was building up the whole interview. I remember speaking to him. I was building up and building up and building up because I knew there was going to be a point where we were going to be talking about the people he was acting alongside. And I couldn't wait to ask him about his experience working with, a friend of the show, Toby Osmond. And we got the response I knew was coming. And you just have to listen.
Yeah.
It was just amazing. Both these guys, Sam, Bentley, we wanted these two together because of, obviously, Black Site. We got to go and see them on Black Site. The relationship in the movie on Black Site is very strong. Good performances all around there. But when we were on set as well, like, because we also went on set to see Black Site, not rubbing it in anyone's face, but we did. You could tell there was something there between them there as well.
Yeah.
Like, the two of them were, like, really quite close and sort of talking to each other and sort of like, yeah, there was something a little bit special about those two guys. So I wanted Sam and Bentley on the same episode because it made sense. So who do you want to play first?
Well, you know what, ladies first. Let's go with Sam.
Ooh, ladies first. I like it.
You saw something horrific when you were a child. Something someone so young should never see. But it's time to accept it.
What's the point in surviving if I'm not out there fighting?
What are you still doing here?
Don't you see what this institution proves, Ray? It proves that there is no point. No big plan, no destiny.
Security Protocol 18 is now in effect.
Alright, joining us right now as part of the Stairs-a-thon, the Stairs Extravaganza, the Stairs Special.
Just call it the stairs.
Yeah. Returning guest Samantha Schnitzler. Samantha, how the hell are you?
I'm good.
Yay.
I'm good, guys.
Good stuff.
This is good. It was about it'll be over a year ago now that we went to the set of Black Site.
That's right.
And we got to interview Samantha.
Yeah.
And do you remember what I said as we were walking away from that interview with Samantha?
I do not.
I wondered if at any point you thought she was also going to roundhouse kick you to the face.
Me?
Yes.
Why?
Because, Samantha, I will say, when you came over and we were chatting and we were asking the questions, you cut quite an imposing figure. You looked like a badass on the set of Black Site.
It's just the costume.
It is.
It's not just a costume.
So how are you doing tonight? Are you okay tonight? Everything good?
Yeah, really good. Thank you so much for having me back again. It was awesome last year. I'm sure it's going to be great again.
Thank you for even taking the call. It's always great that people like yourself still want to talk to us and still actually kind of know who we are.
I'm not going to lie, guys. I was painting my hamster, and it was pretty important, but the hamster can wait. So yeah.
At least we're more important than a hamster.
Well, yeah.
Well, somewhat. So we have a couple of little icebreaker questions to get to know yourself a little bit, because obviously we're going to be talking about stairs, which we were down at the set back in July, August.
Yeah.
On the most pissy rainy day ever.
Second one was the pissy rainy day.
Yeah, still fun though. We got to see you fall over, so
Beautiful stunt, right? Should it not have been rain, we wouldn't have had that stunt from you guys. So I mean,
it was dry. It was dry when that happened. I can't blame that.
How many times that video?
Brilliant. This is going to be a running thing in these stairs episodes, I guess, because everybody just wants to bring it up and talk about it. I mean, it was
you.
It was something special, to be fair.
It was something different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So, anyway, actually, no, before we get into it, I would just like you to take a quick second, because Samantha's a podcaster herself.
Yeah. All healthy stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, thanks for mentioning that. Yes, I am. It's called The Wellness Mythbusters, and it's talking about everything: psychology, training, nutrition, spiritual sometimes, with an episode about meditation, for instance, to just try and help listeners become their healthiest selves, or just, grab a tip or two on how to make healthy choices in their life.
So telling fat people how to get fit, basically.
No! We're not trying to preach anything. We're not trying to convert anyone to veganism or eating 2 steaks a day or anything like that. I'm hosting it with a different specialist or wellness expert for every episode, and we're just giving ideas to people. That's all it is. We're merely giving tips and a life hack, so to speak, to try and just make it a little simpler. Sometimes it can be a little confusing out there with all the info that we're bombarded with. So
yeah, I get you. I mean, I do listen to it, and as a fatty, it does make me want to get fit. But you know what? It's too much effort.
That's why you come on set, run, and everything. So that's fine.
Oh, you will,
you didn't run.
You will notice I took the chair behind the gun. I sat there and I did nothing. It was Chris doing all the running, flying, and whatever else.
Bending,
yeah, breaking people's guns. But yeah, so anyway, so Samantha, why don't you give us a little quick rundown on your sort of how you got into this acting game and what brought you to movies, and was it something you gravitated to naturally, or did you fall into it?
When I was 3 years old, absolutely not. I think I was always drawn to artistic things. I was always, like, in my head. My mom was always telling me to just get a little more serious and more responsible as a child, and all I wanted to do was to sing and make up shows for them. My poor parents had to sit through hours and hours of shows. I would just perform for them. Was it good? Probably not, but I was entertained, and they were patient. So I danced from the age of 6, and when I was 16, I grew up in Paris, and when I was 16, there was like this 2-month summer training in a great school in Paris, and they advertise it, and a great acting school, and it's called Cours Florent, and it's very renowned in France, and I went there for 2 months, and I had a blast. I was a little too young to be joined the first year, and they told me, come back in 2 years. You've been accepted in the first year. You can enroll, but only when you're 18. And by then, I had a conversation with my parents, and they told me, well, it would be good to get a degree, right? Because I think they weren't sure if it was more of a hobby for me or something I really wanted to do. So I got a degree in international business. That's my full resume right now that I'm giving you. And I graduated when I was 22, and then I still wanted to be a dancer. So I started out as a dancer. I trained as a dancer in contemporary professionally, and then I did a bit more of that, and I was in Canada at that time, and then acting opportunities started to come at me, and I was like, you know what, that is still something I want to pursue. That is still something I want to do. And then I moved to London, and I did more of that, and it just continued. But I was faced in my life at some point a few years ago with a decision to make, because everything was moving forward: the fight choreographing, the fight performing, the dancing, the dance choreographing, and the acting. But I wanted one thing to go further. I thought, well, it's great, but I don't want to be a jack of all trades, master of none, right? Or at least I want to focus on one thing. And I decided that thing would be acting, that I would give myself a year. And then after a year, I would see what happened and if I got positive feedback. So I started training again for 3 years with a private coach. And I went to LA as well. And suddenly things started to fall into place. And then I met Tom while I was on a bunch of feature films as supporting roles. And then I met Tom, and he cast me as my first lead role in a feature film, and the second one with Stairs. And I kept on, during those past few years, I kept on getting just positive feedback, or I don't want to say signs, but things that just kept me on going in the same direction.
We've seen you do your thing twice now, and it's we like watching you do your acting, Samantha.
No,
we like seeing you kick ass. Basically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like kicking ass or martial arts or stage combat or whatever you want to call it. For me, was the perfect way to transition from a lot of dancing that I didn't want to abandon. I didn't want to abandon movement at all, because it's a big part of who I am, into translating that into something else on screen, right? Something that I could work on, and there's still choreography, so it's very close to dancing. Only your physicality changes, but just like it does from ballet to hip hop, or so it was the perfect transition for me to still have movement and express a certain physicality or something.
So is that a natural progression that a lot of people find then, from trained dancer to sort of choreography type thing?
I don't know. I can only speak for myself. I know a bunch of dancers around me who have started training as stunt performers, but not necessarily as actors who fight. I just think once you use your body, it's a little bit like an engineer with a software, right? You're trained on a software, and then you're giving a new software, and there are some basic rules that apply, and also a whole lot of stuff that you need to learn. But because you are an engineer, you know how to operate different softwares, right? It just takes a few hours of practice to kind of get into that. And as a dancer, I think it was the same thing. I was used to moving, but then I just needed to break my physicality a little bit. I had done martial arts before, but it's not until maybe 5-6 years ago that I decided, okay, I want to train for stage combat. And I want to train more in taekwondo and kickboxing to just get that physicality. Because at first, as a dancer, you start fighting, and I mean, your listener's not going to see that, but you're just all up, and you're fighting like a ballet dancer, and it doesn't work. You don't look badass at all. You look graceful, but that's not necessarily the point, right? So it was a natural transition for me, but it required a lot of work at first, because I was watching footage and I was like, oh God, this is bad. I mean, I had the coordination, strength, and the flexibility, but it doesn't make you a fighter at all. You need to break down all your muscle memory and all your habits and just, transition into something else. And adapt it to the character as well, because I think what makes great fight scenes is not just incredible technique and beautiful choreography, it's the ability of the actor to fight as their character. So if you're scared, if your character is cocky, if your character is very trained but very, very humble, it makes a big difference. And sometimes when you ask someone to do something that is a little bit out of their comfort zone, they go into their default mode, which is them, not the character, but them, right? That's why when I don't know, like when you see someone breaking out of character, you can see it straight away, because you're like, now that's you. I can see it. You laughed, but you laughed as you, not as the character. It's a little bit similar with fighting. Very often, we see people fighting as themselves, and all of a sudden it's like, well, I thought you were supposed to be a really nice guy, but right now you fight like an asshole. So maybe you're an asshole in real life. I don't know. You know what I mean? Or the other way around, maybe, but yeah.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying there, because obviously in Black Site, your character sort of, it kind of feels a little bit like Ren's sort of holding herself back a little bit and sort of not putting herself completely into it. Whereas when I saw you training, because Tom was putting up videos of you guys training, and you're like hitting everything really hard and you're really going for it and everything. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, well, when you do start kicking ass, you're probably just going to kick ass. But as you fight with Ren, you kind of do. You are holding back. You are a little bit like, I don't know what I'm fully capable of. So you do maintain the character, and you do that very well with that character. Mm-hmm. So I totally get what you're saying with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's an awesome point.
But there are times when, like you say, you're watching a movie and it's like somebody who is quiet and reserved gets into a fight, and all of a sudden they're Neo from the Matrix.
Yeah.
They know everything, and it's like, well, how did that happen?
It's like everything in the script, right? Anything in the script, if it's justified in the script by a certain piece of information you got at some point, then perfect. Then you can be an incredible fighter and never get a cut face. But yeah, as long as it's justified, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. One of the things that I wanted to bring up, because I am a huge DC fan, a huge, massive DC fan, you had a part in the Justice League as an Amazonian warrior.
Yeah, I wouldn't say a part. I was a fighter in the film, you know?
Samantha, you were in the Justice League. You were in the Justice League. Do not take this away from me.
Yeah, but I didn't have any lines.
No.
I was playing a fighter. Fantastic experience. So we trained for 6 months. So it was an extensive training, and it was a really, really great experience. I got to learn so much from people who are incredibly skilled in the industry, and really nice people as well, which makes a whole difference. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was really awesome. It was really awesome.
And that's all she's going to say about it.
You know what was actually incredible about the whole experience is, when you put people in a bit of a stressful situation. I mean, or let's say challenging more than stressful. So you put a group of people from the same sex together, and I think what's going to happen very often is that guys can get very testosterone-y. They can get really cocky, and they're gonna show like that. Oh yeah, I'm stronger than you, but and there's gonna be a lot of checking each other out. Girls are gonna start pulling each other's hair, like they can get bitchy. It's just I don't know. It seems to be human nature, right? However, on this one, the funny thing is, the training was so intense, like. You wanted to throw up every single training. That's how intense it was. That there was no space for competition. And the trainers were trying hard just to set challenges, and really great trainers, but to set challenges. So to part us into 2 teams and to have us competing against one another, right? And to be like, okay, the team who finishes first, you've won. Well, the team would finish first and then go and cheer for the second team. Nice. Go like, come on, girls, you can do this. And it didn't matter who won or anything, because we were in this together. You would have like a 20-second rest and just make sure that your partner had her water close by and things like that. And that was really incredible. And I think it's due to not just the intensity, but also how the trainers trained us from the start. They said, you guys are a team. The stunt trainers, so the gym trainers were trying to make it competitive just for the sake of performance. But the stunt trainers told us from the start, you are going to train as your character, and it comes back to what we were saying before about fighting in your character. This was a fight part, right? We're Amazons. We're meant to be really fierce and badass, and so they said anything you do now, do it in character. And you guys are all sisters. You're a big family, and the Amazons were super tight as a group. So everything we did it in character. You know what I mean? Like we just had this idea that, okay, you're part of something that's bigger than you. Let's make it work. And the way it translated into the gym was very interesting. Also during fight scenes, you can trust your co-fighters, which is for me the single most important thing in a fight. The trust you have with the other person, the communication.
So I'm assuming on Justice League it was more sword fighting for you guys.
Yeah, sword, shield, spears, and bow and arrow.
And that, I don't know. There's something about an Amazonian with a bow and arrow that, I don't know. Justice League just made it look amazing.
It was so good. Yeah, it was. So the training we had for bows and arrows was so amazing. It was fantastic.
And when you compare that to, obviously in Stairs, you're working with hand to hand. In Black Sight, you had a few weapons, but like, do you prefer when you're doing your fight choreography to be holding a sword and shield, or do you prefer to be having a gun in your hand and going fist to fist?
I prefer having a frying pan.
Yeah, that was cool.
That's preferably hot. You know what I like is diversity and constantly adapting to the weapon you have. Because just like when I was a dancer, I loved the being versatile and going from ballet to salsa to hip hop to contemporary dancing, and that's what I love. I love a challenge, and working with different weapons. You just become more versatile every time you fight. Learning all the tactical stuff that was new for me with Darren and Spencer, our fight designers on Stairs, which is fantastic because close combat is totally different. You're very close to your opponent. You know, with swords, you keep a distance plus a safety distance for stage fighting, obviously, because you're fighting with a very long weapon. So it's a totally different thing. You don't have that proximity that feels dangerous. You know, the stakes are higher because when you have, I like fighting with guns as well, but in guns it's visually interesting and a bit of a post-production nightmare for sometimes, but you have a distance. So you don't necessarily have that, oh shit is going down, like when you're fighting, because it's just about aiming and it's choreographed and everything. Yeah. When you have that close distance, and it's just, there's something about it that's different. But generally, tomorrow you asked me to fight with, I don't know, let's pick another weapon, like a broadsword or something like that. It's great, you know. It's a new challenge, and it adds something different to your character.
Definitely.
If your character is willing to get super close to someone with a knife, you know, it says, oh shit, not only is she extremely trained, because right now she has the confidence to go at someone with a knife, and that person has a knife as well, and you got to go for the kill here. You're not going to get away with just like, you know, it tells you something. She's probably very violent. She's probably, you know, it's different, yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons why the raid is so like. It's why I get really into the raid when I watch it, because it is so close proximity and it's like shit.
That's one of the good things about that. The fight scenes in that movie is it's all hand to hand, and it's you actually feel like the characters in danger.
Yeah.
You worked on an action short called The Division.
Yes.
With hopefully, fingers crossed, future guest of 365.
We're in talks. We're in talks.
Jean-Paul Lee, who's awesome. Now,
JP,
yeah, he's great. We saw him at Comic-Con London, didn't we?
Did,
when he was going on about night shooters. We wanted to get him on there because he was talking about wanting to
bring back the old school
martial arts movies, which I'm all about. So did you get to do, because we haven't seen this short film, Samantha, so did you get to do any fight choreography with him?
No, so JP is one of my closest friends here in London.
Nice.
And we've known each other for years now. We share the French connection, because I'm French myself. There's Law as well, Laurent, that you probably saw as well. JP and I have worked together a few times. And no, on that one we had fight scenes together in the past. But on this one I was playing a Russian mobster. So small role, was really fun. I was there for one day. I also helped them in production a little bit. just on set, really helping out a little bit. But maybe in the future, maybe we'll fight again. Who knows?
Yeah, we watched Night Shooters the other night because we were asked to do a cheeky little review for the film. So I'm sitting there watching it, and John Paul's kicking ass all over the screen.
Yeah, no,
and
brilliant. He's also a very, very nice person, and that just elevates people to another level when they're very skilled and very nice. It's the kind of people you want to work with, honestly. Well, also personally, one of the people I want to be friends with,
yeah.
But or remain friends with. But what am I saying here? But generally, yeah, it's the kind of people you want to work with, right? People who are humble, good at what they do, constantly working on their craft, and just really, really professional on and off set. Great. And he's all these things, and I have no doubt that JP's going to go really far in the industry.
Nice.
Absolutely.
I was super, super impressed when we saw the trailer down in London. It was just a rough cut of the trailer, and it was kind of like, that looks a bit, it looked good, but it also looked a tad ropey. And then when we actually got to sit and watch the film, I was like, damn, this is insane.
Mm-hmm. So we need to see a scene with you versus Jean Paul.
Yeah,
definitely.
I did pretty much message Tom that night saying, okay, Tom, cast Jean Paul, cast Samantha, fighting it out. I want to see this happen now.
Just 90 minutes.
You never
know.
Basically, yeah, just 90 minutes of that. Just the two of them in the corridor, just knocking lumps out of each other. I'm up for it.
So is the division, is it doing the rounds of the film festivals? Can people see it now, or?
I'm not sure. You will have to ask JP about it.
So let's talk a little bit about how you and Tom Paton came together for Black Site. How did this happen? How did Tom find you? Was it sort of like being in London, being in the area, and you just wanted to work with each other?
I had been stalking Tom for a while.
It's funny, every story starts like that.
As you do on, as you do on social media. No. I mean, I have been following. Following is a more professional term. Let's stick with following. I feel like that's creepy. No, I had been more seriously. I had been following Tom and his work for a while, and I just noticed that he had finished post-production for Redwood, and I was thinking, well, he sounds like a really hard worker who's probably nonstop, and if there's a gap to send him my stuff and say, hi, my name is Sam, and this is what I do, it's probably now, after post-production is finished. So I sent him a message saying, hey, yeah, really like your work, blah, 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 blah. And by that time, I had watched Pandorica online. Thought the cinematography was brilliant, the score was great, and the concept was really brilliant. So I sent him a message, and he said, okay, cool, thanks, I'll watch it, my reel. He did, and then a few months later, he actually asked me, do you have a fight reel? And I was thinking, oh, we're getting specific, great. So I did send him my fight reel, and he said, thanks, I'll send him to my producers. And I was thinking, oh, okay. And he said, by the way, if you have time at some point, we should grab a coffee. And I thought, well, great. It's always great to meet people in the industry and to show your face and everything. But I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, yeah, we're going to have coffee, and I'm going to ask more about your career. And we met for coffee. And we had a really good time. We laughed, and I thought, well, he sounds like someone I want to work with. And little did I know, he had a film in mind, which was Black Site. He started telling me about the concept a little bit, and I thought, well, it's a great concept. And then he finished with, so I'm looking for my lead actress. I was like, oh, wow, okay, well, great. He's like, do you want to self-pay for it? I was like, well, hell yeah. So he told me, well, I'll send you the first 45 pages. And I'll send you the pages soon, and then you can have a read and, see what you think. And then tape whatever you want. So I taped 2 scenes, and I sent it to him, and he liked it, and his team liked it. And then we met again in Cannes, which was like the month after or something. And I met with his producer and cinematographer. And, yeah, we had a good time, and then I came back, and then a month later there was a casting face to face, and then 10 days later, seemed really long. He called me and said, "Congrats, you got the lead role. You got the part of Ren." And I was over the moon. I was so excited. And then yeah, and then we went on shooting it, and then we shot Stairs, and it was just awesome.
Wow.
Both films, you know.
And then you were stuck in an underground tunnel, freezing your bollocks off. That was an intense place to film. So how did you get on with? I mean, you looked like you were in your element when we came down, but how did you get on in those tunnels?
You know what? I think Tom really likes picking glamorous filming locations.
Oh yeah, definitely.
From black lights to stairs, potato fields, and all that. You know what? It was the sense of a team effort because everyone was cold. It was long days for everybody. Having Mike as my co-star was a blessing. He was so funny and supportive. Every scene where I'd have like a little bit more dialogue or a bit of a fight scene or something, he would just pat me on the shoulder and say like, "Great, like let's go, let's do this. You know, you can do this." And it was so nice because he had worked with Tom before, and he gave me really interesting insights about how Tom and George were working together as a team, and I thought it was great. You know, I couldn't have been more welcomed onto the team, and it was just really great. The crew was so incredibly nice, and everybody was, you know, I always think the crew has the hardest job because they're the first to arrive, the last to leave, and as an actor or actress, you just, you know, you pop on set, you do your thing, and then you leave before everybody else is done. So, but these guys are working so hard, and every day they had a smile on their face. They were so kind to us, and we had a lot of fun. Every day was really fun, and yes, it was long, but, you know, Tom has this really great ability to size people really rapidly. And we were joking on set that he knew me like a pet because he would say, "Yeah, you're like these old cameras that had the battery level." And when we would have a really long day, he would see the battery, and there was always a point during the day at the end of a long day, you know, where I would start stumbling upon my own words, you know, and just messing up my lines. The line before would be totally fine, and then I would just like stutter. And he would be like, "Okay, guys, that's a wrap." And we would be done, you know. And don't get me wrong, I wouldn't do that at like 2 in the afternoon. But, you know, we had that understanding of how much we could be pushed. And I remember one day where we had our favorite scene of the film with Mike, where, you know, Sam is asking Ren out. We're just waiting for that scene. And I hardly think this is a spoiler, you know, I won't reveal anything. But And we were shooting that at 11. We finished at almost midnight on that day, and we had started like really early in the morning. But it was so funny, and Tom on that day couldn't stop laughing because the scene was just extremely funny, and we were just in it together. And obviously, everybody wanted to go back home to the hotel, you know, and just rest and chill. But that to me was just a testament to how hard everybody was working, but how positive the atmosphere was on set.
Yeah, we felt that.
We did. We got to be there on. I can't really say overly much about the scene that we got to witness because it's a massive spoiler for the film.
Yeah,
but we got to see, like you say, you guys were like really far into the shoot and all that when we came down. I think it was about 2 or 3 days away from the end, a week before the end,
something like that. Yeah.
And we came down, and there's a really powerful scene between yourself and Bentley, and sort of Mike's away in the corner and all that. And even at that point, you guys have been filming for a while now. You did that scene, and me and Chris was kind of standing there looking at each other, going, "Shit, we just witnessed some
acting. We just saw some acting.
We just witnessed some acting right there." But at the same time, we also caught a glimpse of Tom and George just sort of turning each other's heads and looking at each other, and Tom having this massive smile on his face, going, "Yeah, we got that." Mm-hmm. And it was so cool to see the whole crew sort of standing there in this really dank, dark tunnels, and everybody realised that you nailed that scene. You absolutely nailed that scene, and everybody was just so pleased with it. And it was a really cool day to come down and see that.
What was it, Tom?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, a great day.
It was a great day. However, big spoilers for us.
Yeah. It was Tom called it the "show me I'm going to fuck you up" face.
Yeah, basically, yeah. He's like, no, you walk out there and you show him your "I'm going to F you up" face, and yeah. And we were kind of like, yeah, she showed him it.
That's what we do.
Talk some stairs then.
Yeah, let's get into stairs.
Yeah.
Let's talk about stairs.
So again, we got to see yourself and all the guys do your thing when we were down there for the 2 days. It was awesome.
It was
absolutely awesome. So, I mean, when you first got to that, to the set, to the farm, and you saw all those toys, what was the first thing that went through your head?
That's insane. Because we had been on the farm for Black Site on one of the last things, and we had seen some of his just armada of toys, but not all of it. And we arrived and they were all lined up, and we're like, holy shit, this is what we get to play with. I mean, that's insane. And they're just in there, just lying there. and you just think, you got a tank. There's a tank right there. We were just so excited, like kids at Christmas, and because of the film, not that because we're making an action film. I mean, in general, like military stuff doesn't necessarily excite me that much because it's war. It's not cool. You know what I mean? It's not something to be excited about. But then obviously when you're on an action film set and you think, this is what I get to play with. This is insane. It's going to make it so real. And I knew that with those things and the skills that Tom has and the skills that George has, we were going to create something like so much bigger already than Black Site was. And I really love Black Site. It's obviously I have a bit of an attachment to it, but we just knew that this was going to be good.
Yeah, we said that when we came to the set of Black Site that we love Pandorica, we love Redwood, but we were like, there's this very, very visible step up that he's taken on every movie. And then when we turned up and, like you say, we saw the artillery, we saw the armada, it's like, holy shit, like Tom's going to a whole nother level. And we didn't really know much about Stairs. We didn't really know much about the story, and we kept hearing little tidbits coming from different actors on the set and all that, and it's like, this sounds mental. And it's like, yeah, I'm fully in.
We keep on joking about reading the script as actors. And generally, you go through a script and you read it, and it took me, I think we're talking 90 pages, in fairly big font. And it took me over 4.5 hours to read the script.
Nice.
Because I kept on going back a few pages and being like, wait. What? Okay, right. So this is like, right. And I wanted to make sure to grasp everything. And you won't on the first read, you won't grasp everything, every nuance, every, subtlety of the script. But just to get the story and the plot clearly, and then I took notes, like I put them down and I took notes to be like, this is part 1, this is part 2, like this is what happens. Okay, cool. Just to have, a look at the bigger picture.
I do remember when we got there, Tom did give us pretty much the entire story.
Yeah.
We were stood having a chat and Tom just told us the entire story, and we pretty much just went, okay.
We're at Comic-Con in Birmingham, and we're standing there before the panel with some of the cast members being like, yo, let's do this really rapidly. Go. 15-second synopsis. If someone asks you about the film, go. Okay, how long do you have? 15 seconds. Oh, shit. Because there is so much to say, and you don't want to reveal too much, but, it's just, this is going to take a bit of press training for this one.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we don't want to give anything at all away about the film, obviously. But I mean, we spoke briefly when we got back on the episode after about the scenes that we saw and what have you. There's a lot of action scenes. I mean, we saw the scene where you were running up the hill. That's not a spoiler or anything. It's a hill.
It's a hill.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming in post it's not going to look like a hill. So
yeah. So what was the most hardcore, difficult part of the filming?
You know what? It's funny because when you ask the question, what's the hardest part? And I honestly can't tell you, because we had one day where, I'm not going to say who I was fighting with, but we had a big fight scene. And it was so enjoyable. And I was so happy because fighting with that person turned out to be so easy. The communication was flowing. We would ask each other after each take, was it okay for you? As in, can I change everything? Can you change anything, to make it better? Was that angle good? Yes, okay, cool. And the communication was so crystal clear that it was really easy. Yeah, sure, it was really hot on the stairs. It was really hot. But to be honest, because we were all in it together, we were kind of laughing about it, because we're sweating. Like, we're sweating so much. And one particular scene again, but that's going to be a spoiler, so I won't mention it. And that wasn't physically hard, but emotionally, if you had been put in that situation, that would have been horrendous. And I was sweating my ass off, and the makeup artist kept on, just coming to absorb all the sweat, pat my forehead and all. But it wasn't, I can't think of it as hard. The whole experience generally was extremely intense because we filmed so much over 17 days that the whole thing felt like being inside a washing machine on a short program. And you're just like, and then it was over and you were like, oh my God, did we actually pull it off? What? Okay, I guess we did. So the whole experience was intense, but I can't think of one single moment where I felt like this is too much. I can't, this is physically too hard, or running up the hill. Yeah, that's underrated because, it's actually really intense. But then I think it's that team thing, because on this one we were lucky to be in a cast of 9 at most, all together at the same time. And it just creates this sense of, let's do it. When you have a fight scene, on Black Side, I remember this really hard day, for instance, where I was fighting another character, and it was just the two of us in a dark corridor, and it took hours and hours and hours to get it right, to get the fight scene like we wanted it to be. And we had to break it into 2 days because it was just so intense. And we were talking together with the other actor and being like, picture us watching the film when it's going to be finished and it's going to be so amazing. Let's finish this because we can do it. Come on, let's go. Because it was so cold, and so it's physically taxing when you're fighting in cold conditions. But on stairs, it was never cold. I think one of the hardest things for me is the cold. The cold is just, you burn so many calories. Your energy is quite low. Your muscles can be aching. It's hard to stay warm. Your jaw can be locking a little bit, so dialogue is not necessarily as easy. But when it's warm, well, you sweat, so what, If you have a fight scene, you might slip if you try and grab someone's arm or face or whatever. But no, I can't remember any single moment where I was like, oh, this is so hard. Some acting challenges, but as an actor, that's what you want, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
that's what I want. I want challenges. I want moments where I'm like, digging deep into my performance and just, at the end being able to watch it and be like, wow, that was great. Or, oh, I need to work hard on that because that's not very good. But, just to be challenged. So that's just a positive.
And then, of course, in between takes, you're doing all sorts of yoga poses and Pilates or whatever it was. And we got to witness some of that with you and Elena, and it was like, what is going on? This is your downtime, rest.
Yes. Potato field yoga poses. You wouldn't believe. No, but you know what? We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun on stairs again because the cast, joke after joke, working with everybody. Shane kept on singing songs to us. We mentioned it week at Comic-Con. So there was this particular time. And as I mentioned before, we shot so much content over 17 days. And quite frankly, not a lot of it was just a luxury, as in like, oh yeah, we'll put this somewhere else. You know, it's like, no, everything is necessary. Yeah. And we need to shoot everything. And we don't have like 3 hours per scene or, you know. So we're all really focused. But on those takes, the camera crew was actually remote. You know, they were shooting from like a wide angle. But we have the sound packs, so everything that happens, Tom can hear it. And sometimes we forget. Anyways, we're supposed to meet Shane in the middle, and all common, he's supposed to tell us, you do this, you do that, you know, give us orders generally as a team. And instead, we're all gathering. So they're not recording sound per se, right? And we're all in character. And you know when you're tired and you're nervous and you could just burst out laughing at any time. At least that's one of my big problems. Like, when I start laughing, it's really hard to stop. So we go and see Shane, and he goes like, first, I was afraid. I was petrified. I didn't think I could live by myself. And we just go like, oh no, please don't do that. And obviously we need to stay in character. We can't fuck up a take. There's no time for that. So... And every single take, he would come up with something different. He finished on the Spice Girls. And when he started saying the Spice Girls, well, you know, speaking the Spice Girls, really, I looked at him and was like, Shane, please stop. Please stop. Please don't do this. And he wouldn't have any of it. He was just continuing on his tracks. And it was just too funny, you know, things like that. Or just the amount of times where Toby started walking away like he was on a catwalk because he's walking. We're all on camera, but he's walking out of frame, and he decides to do a little catwalk in the middle of potato fields with an army mercenary outfit and a rifle gun. And we're just like, I can't deal with this because all you can see is just his little butt going like right, left. He's like, come on. We're trying to focus here. So hard, but so enjoyable.
So, without giving any real spoilers or anything like that, can you tell us a little bit about the character you play in Stairs, who she is, and what her motivations are?
Yeah, so her name is Kia Clark, and she becomes the de facto leader in the film at some point, and she has to deal with orders that she's not necessarily comfortable with, that go against her morals. And she's challenged to define where the line is between the good, the bad, the right, and the wrong, and what it is to her, because, I mean, it's just a matter of perception, right? Mm-hmm. What's wrong, what's right. Mm-hmm. And does it make a difference? And how is it going to affect your life if you make that particular choice or another one? And she's constantly having to deal with that and the consequences of her actions. And so that's what happens. I think she's a natural leader, but she's not initially in a leader position. She's not the leader of the team. So she is asked to step out of her comfort zone and to just deal with it.
And that's that.
That was well done, because you didn't give any spoilers or anything. Well done.
But yeah, so a little bit about we're going to start wrapping up in a little while, but a little bit about the cast, because Tom's brought in some new faces, some old faces coming back from some previous movies. And one of the ones I want to talk with, because you worked with him so well in Blacksight, is Bentley. What was it like teaming up with Bentley again for Stairs?
Honestly, Bentley is professionalism impersonated. Like, it's just honestly embodied professionalism, because he's always so chilled. Bentley is always like, yeah, cool, man, like, you know. It's Bentley. He's always chilled. And he is an actor I learned a lot from. Yeah. He's got a lot of experience, and I love being around Bentley on set, because he always has something interesting to say. He always has good advice without ever overstepping or crossing any lines. You know, like, I I know I can always turn to him if I'm not sure about something. I'm like, I'm hesitating between two choices for my character here. What do you think? And obviously, I would run it by Tom as well. But Bentley has this, this tranquility almost. I don't know. He's so massive, right? And there's something about big guys who are comfortable in their own skin. They just know they don't have to prove anyone that they're big and they're tough, and that they could crush you with a pinky. Everybody knows that. I mean, look at the dude. But, they have this calmness about them. Almost like martial artists. And that's really something I like about martial artists as well. They have this, calm, peaceful attitude about them. And Bentley, and he's really fun as well. He's really fun. And actually, I heard that he had tremendous fun on this one. And, that he was super happy to have been part of it as well. And there's just something, he was playing Ren's older brother on, adoptive brother on Black Site. And there is this thing that remains, when I'm around Bentley, I kind of feel like his little sister.
Yeah. And, I mean, you could kind of, from us being there, you can kind of almost get a sense of that, just seeing you guys together. It was like, because obviously we've seen Black Site and we know that the relationship, what it was like there, and we saw how you guys got on screen, and we saw a little bit of it behind the scenes as well. And then this time, I think the first scene that we properly got to see you together was down on the riverbank, and kind of there's you two away from the rest of the crew because you all kind of meet up in the middle. And I'm kind of sitting there and I'm like, yeah, that's about right. Bentley would be there. There's just a real sense between the two of you, and it's great to see, which is why I wanted to bring Bentley up first. But we've brought on some new characters. You've got your cheeky rogues, you've got your Elena, and you've got your Toby. And how did you get on with Elena and Toby?
So Elena and I actually knew each other from way back, but just here and there. Just a day here, a day there of work, and we knew each other without really knowing each other. And so last year when Tom told me, this is the cast list for Black Site, do you know any of them? And I was like, actually, yes, I do know Elena. And then we started joking because she was playing my character's mom in a flashback, obviously. So we started having mom jokes all over the place on social media. We started like, hottest mom on the block and all that. And she would congratulate me as her daughter, and Instagram was full of them. And then this year, when I knew we were going to be on set this whole time, I was really excited to get to know her as a person as well, because, on Black Site, we hardly got to, we were never on screen together, and we just, crossed each other's paths like one day or something, and that was it. So I was excited to get to know her as a person. Elena is a great actress, but such a supportive co-worker, for want of a better term. She's so supportive. And again, it's just human nature. A lot of people can get competitive. They see another girl on set, and it happens. And there's none of that. And it just creates a wonderful team spirit again, because we were part of the same team. Our characters are very different. And they might not agree with each other or even like each other, in the storyline. Be friends at all. Like, I don't really think, yes, in that one they are friends, but I don't think all of them are friends, not all of them get along. They are in a team together and they respect each other, but friendship is another thing. And there is this mutual respect that we have for each other, and we grew as really good friends, and it's just wonderful to have supportive cast members, especially when it's going to be intense,
And then, of course, you have Toby there breaking the ice every 2 seconds.
I mean, there's so much to say about Toby, right? It is hard with Toby because he makes you laugh all the time. And no, but it was really fun. It was really fun. And the script is obviously really well written. And just the comic relief that we get, like, and it's like most people would think, really, you're gonna crack a joke now? But Toby just makes it work every single time, and he has great comedic timing, and the way he just, that's it. I mean, it's a mercenaries, right? Not exactly the most comedic team ever. It's not like, yeah, the jokes were really well timed, and his character almost had a sadness about him that made it funny on set, but also like, just you have affection for him, and I think my character has a lot of affection for him. There is some kind of brother-sister relationship, the way I see it, between the two of us.
We can't wait to see what Toby does. He's
Bless him.
Bless him. On that, because Elena wasn't given any weight. Do you know who he's playing on Game of Thrones?
I mean, I heard like 157 times, but I heard.
Can you tell us who he's playing?
You are just mean. he got a few jokes about it. But yes, so I heard. No, but honestly, seriously, it's awesome that he's been on Game of Thrones, and I can't wait to watch what he's done. And I think it's a fantastic opportunity. So congrats to him.
It is awesome, but nobody's telling us who he's playing, and it's not fair. It's not fair because Toby likes to tell everybody everything except this. So
it's not on.
So the big surprise, well, not the big surprise, I suppose, because he is an actor now, and he was on Coronation Street and things. But it's like when Tom told me Shane Ward was going to be in Stairs, this action epic that he was making, I won't lie, I was a little bit like, Shane Ward, and Shane Ward, you know. But we came down and we saw him all kitted out, and we saw him acting with you guys, alongside you guys. He was the business. He looked the bollocks, to be fair.
He did, absolutely.
So how did Samantha and Samantha's character get on with Shane, and how did you get on with the man himself? Because we thought he looked great.
So, well, honestly, hats off to Shane, because he had 2 hours of training, and has very good natural, not in acting, in fighting. I
got that.
And he did so well. Like, he obviously has really good natural ability and a good capacity to work hard and to take information, which is all you need really to get good at something, right? Yeah. Hard work and good natural ability. And you can't teach from experience. You cannot teach someone who doesn't have good physicality or good natural ability to fight on screen or to fight, period. Because it just doesn't happen. If you have a few months, yeah, you can do something, but the physicality is hard to get if you don't have natural body awareness. And he had 2 hours. So it was it was a bet, right? I think Tom took a chance on someone he saw really great potential in. Obviously, his audition must have been fantastic. And he did so well. Yeah. And you see the way he was fighting, he took everything on board. He was listening to everything, all the advice he was getting from Spencer, from Darren, and he was great. As a co-star, fantastic.
Yeah.
The guy is professional. He's a very good actor. He is funny. We laughed so hard to the point where I had to say, like, Shane, please stop. Please stop. Like, we need to focus. Not in a professional way at all, but just because, it was so hard to focus because he's a very funny person. We made, like, a few silly videos behind the scenes, and actually, I'll send you one of them, guys, because I don't know if you saw it. Like, we put it on Instagram a while ago, but it was very funny. But anyways, yeah, just working with him, he's extremely humble. And I think that is one of the keys in the industry. Because, yeah, he's got tremendous experience on screen, right? He's been in, like, 300-something episodes, and the guy could have a bit of an ego. Yeah. And that prevents you from learning. I truly believe that, you're standing in your own way when you think you know better, when you think you're too good for something, too good for whatever it is, right? A cast, a director, a film project, a script, anything. And he doesn't have that at all. He's always learning, always grateful. He doesn't feel entitled whatsoever. And it's fantastic. And I'm sure we're going to move on to her as well, but I have the exact same thing to say about Sophie.
Yeah, Sophie, So yeah, a little bit about Sophie and Sophie's character. We got to see her drive a Humvee, which was pretty awesome, and she was very proud of herself.
Who wouldn't be? I wanted to go in it.
I mean, and she did it like a boss. I mean, we were impressed that the owner of the Humvee, Steve, was like, "Yeah, sure, knock yourself out."
Yeah.
And she just went on like reversing in a potato field, like boom, 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 boom. Like it was so good. You know, she was really awesome. And Sophie again is such a kind person. The two of them are just kindness. That's what they are. They're always supportive. Sophie would come on and be like, "Honey, do you need some water? Do you need anything?" I was like, no, I'm fine, thank you. And, you know, she had stuff to do, too. She had lines to learn and, you know, to perform as an actress. But she, you know, I think that's the mom within her. She wants to make sure that everyone is fine and catered for. And having people like this with you on set is just wonderful, you know. And about Shane, actually, I just remembered, because I'll admit it straight away. I've never watched Coronation Street. I was well aware that he was on it, but I don't have a TV here in the UK, so I've been living here for 6.5 years, and I watch stuff on Netflix and online, but I don't necessarily watch TV per se. And he, on his first day, he has a very intense scene to film. Sorry. And we're on the stairs, and at some point he looks at me and is like, "You know, it's a bit of a character stretch for me." I'm like, "Oh yeah, well, like what kinds of characters have you played before?" And he's like, "Well, I only played one, to be honest, and it was the director of a knicker factory." And I thought I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, "What?" And the dude is telling you that in his mercenary outfit. You know, this kid is like from head. He just tell you, "Yeah, the director of a female underwear factory." I'm like, "What?" I was not expecting that. I thought that was the most hilarious thing.
And a little bit on, because obviously he had very limited training, but you had Spencer as part of the cast as well, Spencer Collins, who he must have been invaluable on set. I mean, we saw a couple of times when he was telling Elena, "That's not how you hold a gun. Get your hand off the magazine," which was quite funny, I suppose. But what was it like having him there? Because obviously he has the experience, he sort of has the military sort of background. And was it just, like I say, invaluable having him there to sort of remind you?
Yeah, it was amazing to have him and Darren together. Not only because they're so tight as a team, so communication, just like with George and Tom, right? When you've been working with someone for a few years, then your communication, your work is just great. You benefit each other massively because you understand how to make each other's work better and how to really support each other as friends and colleagues, and that really shows. And it was, you know, Darren and Spencer were no exception, because you see how they work together, and they're always open to making changes. They're so flexible with the way they work. So we had a day of training, and they looked at who was better at some particular thing. Instead of having like a set plan in their head, they were just looking at, okay, I'm going to train you with knives and rifles and this and that, and then I'm going to adapt the fight scenes working with the abilities that you have, which is, to me, the smartest way to do it, because, again, we don't have 3-4 months of training, right? Or not even a month. We had one day, and obviously some of us had more experience than others, but, you know, you gotta make it good. And when we were on set, they were quick on their feet, you know, to make changes. Should we have to shorten the fight scene because we were, you know, it was late already and we had spent the whole day on it, or make it longer, or actually be, you know, Darren at some point came to me and he was like, "Okay, show me your kicks. What can you do?" And he was like, "Right, cool. We're just putting that in the fight scene, and we're gonna do like 2-3 kicks here, and then we're gonna put this and that," and that just worked on camera. And the two of them, you know, they're great, and Spencer was also part of the cast on this one, which was really different, you know, from before. And and he wowed everybody, you know, with like his scenes, and he did so well. And again, it's an example of a very humble person who's very grateful to be there, very supportive, extremely supportive. Always has nice things to say about his coworkers, and it just creates an atmosphere of trust. And that transferred into the fight scenes where you could trust one another. And as I said before, it's the single most important thing for me, to be able to trust the person I'm working with. And it was that. We knew we were always safe. We knew they were never going to ask us to, you know, get faster and potentially less safe. Nothing like that. And the fight scenes apparently are really great in that film. I haven't seen anything, but, you know, from what I heard.
From our point of view, we don't like Spencer because he was shooting at us.
He was
shooting at us. And I think that's why you fell over.
That's what it was, yeah. I was in character. Yeah. I was thinking, how would my character fall?
That's not, you know, tame this down. Like, you flew over. You didn't fall over.
Nothing like tripping on thin air.
Yeah, shut up. I'll tell you what, a question for you then. When you first start planning out what a fight scene is going to entail, what moves you're doing, how do you start that? What's the process of starting out a big epic fight scene, whether it's fists or swords or knives or guns? How do you go about that?
I'm the kind of person who likes to know everything before we start. And to some people it's really boring, you know, but I want to know, I want to know the whole thing. I want to have a look at the big picture and be like, okay, how long of a fight scene is it? How many people are fighting in there? What weapons am I using? Is there a change of weapon in the middle? You know, am I picking up something new? Okay, cool. What is my objective? Just like in a fight scene, right? Just like in an acting scene. What is my goal here as a character? What do I want to achieve? Am I trying to save my life? Am I trying to protect someone who's next to me and doesn't know how to fight? Am I trying to show off? Because I could just knock that person out, but instead I'm going to really pound them onto the ground just to be like, okay, who's the boss here? Am I trying to impress the person? Am I trying to scare them? You know, I want to know what is the intention of the character behind the fight scene. And then I want to know everything. Then I go through everything slowly, but I love having just all the information that I can get. And some people want to do, you know, a lot of my friends, fighters or not, they just want to do. So if you spend time explaining them and breaking things down, they're just going to get so bored and be like, you lost me 5 minutes ago. I just want to, I want to know. I want to get all the information.
So what would you run it through, like, say, punch, kick? You know, would you run it through slowly first of all and then do it at proper speed?
If I get an opportunity to be shown the fight scene from A to Z, I will definitely do that. I will have the fight choreographer just demonstrating what the whole action is going to be with all the stunt team, for instance, and show me once how it looks like as a general thing. Then you break it into sections very often. So you learn the whole thing and then you break it down into sections. Learning the whole thing for me is more about where I'm moving in the space, who am I hitting, what am I fighting with, if there are any weapons or anything, and then I break down everything. And then I want to make sure that with each interaction I have, I know exactly what's happening. I know exactly what the distance is, and should the distance be not respected because I went a little further, or the stunned person came a little closer, or the timing changed, I want to know what the alternatives are, and I just want to go through everything that could happen so we make sure that we get as much usable material as possible. So for me, it's then the next step is just communicating with every single person. And I want to, you know, if it's a one-to-one situation, then that's easy. You only have one person to communicate with. But I want the person in front of me to tell me if they want me to change something, and I want to be able to tell them, actually, could we raise this a little bit, or is it not selling on camera? Because I would feel more comfortable if I could hit you there instead of here, or if you hit me there, my reaction would be easier, or, you know, things like that. So I kind of, the thing that I do not want to do in a fight scene is to have to rush into it and be like, we'll just, you know, we'll chance it kind of thing. We'll do it. Like, I'm very much about safety and communication because I believe it just makes everything look better. You can time your reactions better. We just know that in a fight scene, reactions are everything, right? So, yeah.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
You gonna go out and direct your own fight scene?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna we're gonna wrap this up, but first of all, is it Stairs? It looks like it's going to be next year. I think it's in post production now. Tom's, I think he has a cut, but it's not the final cut or anything like that. But so it'll be coming next year, hopefully. Obviously, Blackside's doing the rounds, so hopefully we'll be seeing that on physical soon. One thing though, Tom did he did tell us, and he let us tell on our last episode that there's going to be an animated Blackside. Are you aware of the show? Are you possibly going to be returning for the show? Or?
I just heard about it last week, and I was so excited.
I know, right?
I just saw a snippet from it, and I was like, holy shit, I had no idea. I didn't know about it at all.
Yeah.
And Tom was like, oh, didn't I? I was like, no, you didn't. What is this? And I was so excited because it's only bringing more visibility to the film, right? And it's so exciting to see a version of you, because they can do, like, it's just wonderful how much you can do, right? It's limitless. You don't have any budget restrictions. You don't have, like, it's just incredible. So, I was very excited about it, but I don't know anything about it, so I couldn't spoil anything for you guys because, man.
There's space for a Ren's return.
You damn right there
is. There's space there. I would very much like that. So please, just tell him if he doesn't put you in it, you're going to kick his ass. I'm sure he would fear that. But so. Is there anything else that you're working on that you can maybe tell us about? What's Sam got doing in the future? Any exciting projects coming up, or can you not tell us anything?
I cannot tell anything at the moment, but working on a few things. Yeah.
Oh well, that's just
working on a few.
That's a bit of an anticlimax.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's starting to piss you off, isn't it?
It is.
Everybody keeps saying I've got something in the works, but I can't tell you.
Yeah. It's like the story of our lives right now.
No, I mean, we'll see. I just always like being in movement and making sure that, great, we did something great here, move on to the next project, make something even greater, like just let's move on and keep it going, because I believe in momentum, and this industry works well with momentum. So yeah.
And Tom is quoted on a podcast that we did last year when we came to Blackside. Tom is quoted as saying he has found his Sigourney Weaver on our podcast. So if he comes knocking at your door again, is there going to be a third movie in the pipeline?
Oh, please. I'm like the same answer I made last year, of course, 100%, It's wonderful. I said recently, and that's really how I feel about working with Tom. A lot of us want to be in our comfort zone, and a lot of us want to stay in there because it's cozy and it's warm and it's fuzzy and it's nice, right? But when you find someone who sees something in you and challenges you and gets you out of that comfort zone, even if it means that sometimes you don't even know if you're going to be capable of doing that, or but that person believes in you and is willing to take a chance on you to make you better, to push you, then you should really hold on tight to that, because that is the single luckiest thing in this industry and in life in general. People who believe in you and who will, challenge you in really great ways. And that's exactly how it feels working with Tom. It's the most challenged I've ever been as an actress because there are tough times on set because you doubt yourself and you think, shit, this is a big project. Do I have the shoulders to carry it? And alongside an incredible cast. It's not like you're on your own at all, but you feel the pressure not to mess up, and to have someone who pushes you and believes in you in that sense is just, it's the greatest thing I could ask for as an actress, like hands down.
Well, it definitely seems like you're part of his jigsaw, and his jigsaw seems to be coming together. Because it's like he's adding a piece every movie. Mm-hmm. He's forming his Ocean's 11, his Patons 11.
Patons 11, yeah, I like that.
And it's we can't wait to see Stairs, and we know it's going to be incredible.
I think it's going to be cool. I haven't seen anything, so I can only trust what I saw on set, But I think it's going to be good.
Well, we saw a lot of rain, and that makes a damn good independent British movie when you've got rain.
You've got to have rain in a British movie.
We're all about rain, so obviously none of that will be in the movie though. Sam, this has been incredible. Thank you so much for coming on. We've taken a lot of your time off. We did say it'd be like 40 minutes or so, but
that's how it goes.
It is.
Those are the best episodes.
Yeah, and honestly, all the best of luck with the podcast as well. We are trying to push it as well, and we want people to listen to it. Like I say, I'm a fatty, but it makes me want to be thin. And
thank you guys for even plugging. That's very nice of you guys.
That's
anything. But also, some people have been telling me, I don't know if it's because it's boring or because the voices of my guests are soothing, but they told me, I listen to it at night. It helps me fall asleep. Maybe it's just because it's super boring. I don't know. But but hopefully not.
The thing is,
thanks guys for even mentioning it.
At the end of the day, a download is a download. So
exactly.
But no, you do
download.
That's
the motto of like your podcast, isn't it? A download is a download. It's a T-shirt, man.
Pretty much. We have a few T-shirts. That's one of our better ones. But this has been awesome. Thank you again for coming on. And anytime you want to get back on 365 and just shill anything you're doing, or literally just talk. I mean, yeah, that's what we're all about. So you're welcome anytime.
Awesome. Yes, thank you.
But we're probably not the best people to be talking fitness.
No, definitely not.
No.
I'll ask you all about deadlifts and squats and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's a Red Dead thing. Isn't it? That's Red Dead Redemption deadlifts. I don't know. Squats. Never heard of them.
Ooh, Red Dead. Well, I know that game. You know what? I'm not very knowledgeable when it comes to games, but that one is flipping good. The acting is great.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We big fans of Red Dead.
That's what you watch it for.
Been pretty addicted to it.
Yeah, I actually got in trouble. My wife gave me in trouble a couple of days ago because my middle child she's only 7, and she was sitting watching it. She shouldn't have been. I maybe shouldn't put this in the podcast, but she shouldn't have been watching it. And I found out that if you lasso a horse and walk up to it, you can just just stick the knife in the throat and kill it. So I was like, oh, cool. So I did that. And then, of course, Red Dead being Red Dead, you can then skin the horse. Well, I skinned the horse in front of the child, didn't I?
You sick bastard.
Yeah. She was the child.
Oh my god. Well, there you go. My boyfriend discovered that unlike what's it called, Assassin's Creed, the new one, where you can just ride your horse into things and you go through them. In Red Dead Redemption, if you do that, you will have to shoot your own horse because it will break its leg.
Yeah, I had to do that.
Mercy killing.
Mm-hmm.
Mercy
I mean, animal cruelty aside and all that, I laughed a lot because I was like, well, there you go.
you
can't do that.
You have to, I'd say when you steal a train and your horse continues to follow you, and then when you go over the bridge, the horse just jumps over the ravine, obviously doesn't make it to the other side, but it is hilarious.
I didn't find that hilarious.
But anyway, that is...
Get on your case like no one's business.
But yeah, the wife, Lindsay's not happy about that, by the way. Jesus.
About you killing the horse or upsetting Scarlett?
Upsetting Scarlett by skinning the deer. Yeah, that was a big no-no, apparently. Kids are vegetarian now, though. But no, anyway, thank you very much for coming on, Samantha. This has been fantastic. And yeah, anytime.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see this movie, and I know you're going to be badass in it.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was great, guys. Thank you so much.
We'll get you back to your regularly scheduled podcast in just a minute. But we wanted to introduce ourselves. I'm Jason.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Blake on this highly produced advertisement.
That's right. It's the History of Bad Ideas, a.k.a. Hobie. You can find us on Twitter at Bad Ideas Podcast and on Facebook at the History of Bad Ideas. But if you like a podcast roundtable with 3 to 5 guests, usually every week, depending on sick leave, talking about all things geek, including movies,
TV.
I ain't getting paid for this shit.
Blake bitching about something and ranting, and comic books and anything else that we can think of. We have a top 5 list every week, along with a box office news, and somehow we have listeners, so they send us some feedback we answer every week. You can find us on iTunes,
Stitcher,
Facebook,
Spotify,
and any good podcast app, because if you can't find us on that podcast app, it's not a good podcast app.
Damn straight. Roger says goodbye.
Goodbye.
So that was Sam.
That was Sam.
And she's awesome. Yeah, I love Sam. So, when we went to see Stairs, we've said numerous times on the show and throughout interviews we've done and everything about how Tom is just stepping up his game. Stairs is just a massive step up again from Black Site. We thought Black Site looked awesome. The from those caves and those tunnels that we stood in and watched them filming, and you stood there thinking, what's this going to look like? You know, like, I don't know about you, but in my head I was kind of like, this I don't know how this is going to play out. But then when you watch Black Site, it looks gorgeous. It just, but that's a credit to George as well. What did you think of Stairs? Like when we went to the, what would you call it, a farm? Was it a farm? It was kind of like an estately home.
I think it was more of an estate, to be honest, than a farm. It was like a big playground.
Yeah,
very much so. You know, if any estate that's got a bloody fighter jet and two helicopters though, tanks, bloody guns all over the place. You know.
Humvee.
The green room that we went into, holy shit.
Games everywhere.
You know.
Games for days.
Well, I wanted to move in.
Yeah, instantly.
I was quite close to saying, would you adopt me?
Yeah.
And I would be a catch, Kev.
You would be a very gracious adopted son.
I would be.
You would be, yeah. Yep. Very giving.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Anyway. It was like a big playground. It really was, and I couldn't wait when we pulled up in the car. I couldn't wait to see what Tom was going to be doing, with this movie. And well, we weren't disappointed.
It looked amazing. Like like you say, the tanks. We were just didn't know where we were, going around all these windy roads and all that, following a sat-nav, which we should never do.
No,
sat-nav is not our friend, but we're following this sat-nav, and then you come up to like a long driveway, and at the top of that driveway there's like two like tiger statues, 2 lion statues,
cool,
as you go through the gate, and then like you say, there's a fighter jet with an actual rocket missile lying on the ground beside it, and you're just like, the fuck? And then the next thing you see is like an Apache helicopter, and it's like, holy shit! There's like a big, like one of those big army vans that they were filming in the back of, and it's just like, wow, like, dude,
very much so. Yep,
dude. Then we got to see a Humvee with a gun turret, and the gun turret getting fired at us, which was awesome. Like actual, I don't know what that thing was, the gun thing that we were on. And seeing that getting raised and everything. Cannon-y thing. We're not worried, we don't know. But, yeah, Tom's stepping it up again for Stairs. No doubt he'll step it up again for whatever he's got coming next, because apparently there's a few things in the pipeline. Mm-hmm. But he will be stepping... Oh, yeah. He'll be stepping it up again, and, yeah, just... It was an experience. Like, I loved when we went to Black Site. It was nice to be warm this time.
Yeah.
Even when it was raining, it was still warmer than those tunnels.
Although I was sunburnt that night.
You were.
But that wasn't the most painful thing.
Sunburnt and cracked ribs.
Yep.
But, yeah, man, just, it looked amazing what was going on. Everybody playing around, just having fun, and all the extras getting involved, like, people working behind the cameras playing extras, sort of thing. Like, I loved all that, man.
Yeah.
That's a life I'd love to be part of, but we do this, so.
We do this.
We do.
Yep.
It means we get to go and see them play.
And it's a great experience.
It is. It's fantastic.
And it's still cool as hell. Every time, we get to do a lot of cool stuff. There's a few.
We do.
There's a few invites in the pipeline. There's
all sorts everywhere.
Yeah. But every time we go, it still feels like us.
Yeah, like, what are we actually doing here?
Yeah.
Who invited these two schmucks?
Schmuck. I don't ever say schmuck.
Do you not say schmuck?
No, never that.
What
Never
do you
that.
say instead of schmuck?
As who?
Dodes.
Yeah, dode.
Jobies.
Dingbat.
Dingbat. I like Dingbat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, we are going to go into our second interview of the show, unless you have something else you'd like to say.
No, let us talk to Bentley right the hell now.
Bentley, man. I love this. This guy's awesome.
Yep.
And he has an extensive IMDb.
He does.
Like,
He's a busy guy.
There was stuff on there like Edge of Tomorrow and stuff like that. Like, just like when we were prepping, I'm like, right, I want to talk about that. But then at the same time, like, I kind of just want to talk about Stairs. But like, we need to get this in. We need to, because this dude's done shit. He's done fucking movies with big fucking dudes, and now he's worked with Tom Paton, the biggest dude of all.
Damn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we love Tom. So yeah, let's talk about Bentley.
Let's go for it.
Every trial is different, but in the end, one of you will emerge the new leader.
He shouldn't even be here. If he chooses Eren. Tough shit.
So, we have got a fantastic chat for you right now. We have Bentley Kalu on the line with us on this episode. Bentley, we know him as a frequent Tom Paton collaborator from being in movies like Pandorica, Black Site, and the upcoming Stairs. However, Bentley has amassed a varied and pretty damn impressive career so far, including TV shows like Spooks, 2012, the Olympic Committee show. That was we loved that show.
Yeah, I need to speak to you about that one. I loved 2012.
Some Doctor Who, some Mr. Selfridge, some Red Dwarf, which I was Red Dwarf, big British TV show. But happy to see that. Just to name a couple. He's also voiced numerous characters in games like Driver San Francisco, The Division, and Star Wars Battlefront, which, big Star Wars fans over here, Bentley, so you're a winner there.
Awesome.
And scoring roles in some of the biggest movies alongside anyone who's pretty much anyone, including movies like Red 2, Edge of Tomorrow, Disney's Cinderella, Age of Ultron. Oh my god. Bentley, this career is fantastic. You could be seen right now in the cinema or in Stan and Ollie, which is currently doing the rounds, and upcoming movie with WWE's Stu Bennett, Vengeance 2, which I'm quite excited to see. I like a bit of Stu Bennett. So yeah.
I think Bentley, you might be the busiest guest we've ever had on 365.
Yeah, you seem to have been in everything with everyone, but today Bentley has scored his biggest role to date. Everyone's favourite CIA agent, because you play a lot of CIA agents, my friend, has scored his biggest role, and he's here today on the 365 Flicks podcast. How are you today, Bentley?
I'm great. First of all, I gotta say, I'm really humbled by that introduction. Thank you so much.
That's something else.
Thanks for you guys. Thanks for your hospitality, and thank you for having me, man. I'm happy to be here, man.
We've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, we have. This one's been a long time coming because we didn't get a chance to speak to you when we were on
Black
Site.
Right,
because we were doing interviews with all the guys, but you were away. I think you were practicing the big set piece that was coming up that we saw being filmed, so we didn't get a chance to speak to you that day, but we've both been looking forward to this one.
Plus, to be fair, Tom just wouldn't shut up.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what we're going to do before we really get into this, what we like to get our guests to do is make our job a hell of a lot easier. And why don't you let our listeners know who you are and how you got into this acting game?
Right. Okay. Well, I was actually born in London. Mm-hmm. I left to the States when I was about 2-3 years old because my parents separated and my mom lived over in the States. My mom lived in Brooklyn, and I had an extended family in Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia. They call it the DMV. That's D.C., Maryland, Virginia. Mm-hmm. 3 states that kind of like are encompassed as one state, because they're so close together. So long story short, I grew up in Virginia, and I went to school and I studied theater arts. In university, I played American football, and believe it or not, acting was not it was not down my lane, so to speak, because when we were like hot, red-blooded black boys growing up in Virginia, right? It was like you either wanted to be a fighter, a boxer, or play some sort of physical activity, And acting was really, I was doing a lot of acting with the local theaters and, small groups, but I wasn't actually telling my friends that I was doing it. Because you would get laughed at, They're like, what are you doing? You're wearing tights and you doing high kicks on stage, But I found that, how they say you go through life and you stumble across your passion, and your passion, basically, the only way I can explain my relationship with acting is the way I felt when I did it. I can't, give particular points as to say exactly the feeling that I had, but it was almost like this feeling, like I felt like it was a 300-pound gorilla on my back. And the minute they said action, the gorilla jumped off my back. Until they said cut, then the gorilla jumped back on my back. Nice. You know what I mean? No, so it was like release. There was no pressure, no tension. Any problems that I had disappeared when I was on a stage or in front of a camera.
Wow.
And as I went along, I realized that I played American football. I realized that I hated it. Because a friend of mine had a spinal injury, and it kept him in a wheelchair for about a year. And it's so funny because we were like twins. His name was Ben, and my name was Ben. Right? And I said, okay, this might be a sign. I might be next up. So I literally, embraced acting full time. When I moved back to London in 2003, I had a friend that I met, and he had a company that was producing a promo for a video game called Sony Mag. And it was kind of like Sony Special Ops, the video game Special Ops. Yeah. I don't play video games, but I know about it because he was trying to use a reference to what Sony Mag was. And he said they needed, it was literally 2 sports anchors, right? And one was a retired American football player, sorry. And he, had an injury, so now he's in the commentator booth and he's commentating on the sport. But he's commentating as somebody who has been in the battlefield. And he's commentating beside this nerd who knows a lot of technical information about the game but has never actually been in the battlefield. So it was a great comedic dynamic between these two guys. So you have on the one hand my character that really hates he's co-anchor, right? He's saying stuff with so much passion because he's been in it, and the other guy is quite condescending because he's like an Ivy League school graduate, you know, and he knows all this technical information. So that really, you know, blew up and went really well. So the guy, he told me, he said, I need you to speak to somebody, my agent, you know, that has seen your work, and, you know, the rest was history from there. And, you know, touch wood, since I've been, you know, with a good agent, because I only think you've been a good actor as long as you've been with a good agent.
Yeah.
You know, because you need somebody that has your same vision, so that you can break ceilings. Once you get to a certain point, you want to go beyond, you know, as opposed to stagnating. So I literally have been in it properly, I would say since about 2008, 2007, 2008. Yeah.
And for someone who really embraced it and ran with it since 2008, 2007, you've popped up in some credits. I mean,
Yeah.
Like I remember when we were coming down to see you on Black Site, I remember we were looking about who was all in the movie, and we were checking out the IMDb's and all that. And I remember seeing like some of your projects. But then today, when I like really kind of like sat down and looked into it, I'm like, oh my God, this guy's worked with everyone.
Yeah, I sent Kev a message earlier on saying, holy shit.
Yeah. So,
yeah,
was there ever, like, when you really started embracing it and everything, you did video game voices, and you've done some TV and some, like, obviously movies. Is there anything you prefer between the three, like, or is it just like, I'll dip my toe into everything?
You know something that's, I actually really appreciate that question. My thing with acting was, you know, the sort of actors that I really admired were people that were so versatile, you know? You know, I would admire somebody who, let's say, could go in a huge blockbuster fantasy family comedy, you know, like a Cinderella or something like that, and play something that's very lighthearted, you know, and the next day you see him play some sort of like demonic serial killer that's rated R and over 21, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then the very next day you see him in a musical pantomime, you know? So yeah, for me, it's always been about being as versatile as possible and not being afraid to fail, you know, because that's one thing that a lot of people, and not just in our business, but generally, if you put yourself in, I sort of like live in a bubble, so to speak, in our business. And I mean, when I say that, I mean that I live excluded from criticisms, you know, right. or like if you've seen the movie Gladiator, you know, the people in the arena, they can't hear the noise of everybody watching them, you know. So no matter what you're saying, it doesn't sink into their subconscious, you know. Because you have to be, you know, it's literally you make a mistake and you learn from your mistakes. You never lose. You either win or you learn. You know, so I think loss is just something that people put in their minds. And I'll say that I actually struggled with this because I wasn't actually raised like this. You know, I had a dad that was very scared of taking chances. You know, and it was funny because I had not very high self-esteem when I was about 12, 13, you know, because you're not responsible for your character, you know, till you get to that age. And looking at my dad, you know, who was very scared to take chances, I was scared to take chances, you know, but it gets to a point where you're like, okay, I'm either going to go left or I'm going to go right. So when I embraced acting, I said, this is the perfect platform because to be good at this, you can't be scared to fail. No. You can't be scared to take a chance. You can't be scared to sound funny or look funny on set or do something extremely stupid and the whole crew's laughing at you and the director says, okay, you know what, that's not going to work. We're going to go this way. And I'm like, okay, you know. So that was sort of like therapy for me. And I know this sounds cliche because every actor you ask, you'll be like, yeah, you know, acting is therapy for me.
This podcast is therapy for us.
We've said that a lot, yeah.
Yeah, but that's literally my mantra. You know, I would literally what I like the most, the genre of our craft that I like the most is something extremely dramatic, a dramatic thriller. Not necessarily a lot of shooting, not necessarily a lot of fighting, just something that's extremely gripping, like Macbeth.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, something really dark, and then right after that, it's something really light. So like something extremely comedic, like Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. I love that. And very animated. I like animated characters,
So you mentioned the style of actor that you look to, like the guys who are very versatile and do a different thing like each and every time. Is there any in particular actor or anyone that you sort of look to?
Yeah, well, first Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel I just think he can do anything. I look to people like that. I look to this second guy as one of those, even though I haven't seen him in a lot, but I'm very confident that he can do anything. Kristen Bell.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, I really think he. Yeah, Kristen Bell. Tom Hardy is up there as well. He's close up there. And then you have the second like category of actors who are so charismatic. Where you would have like the Idris Elbas, the Denzel Washingtons, Bradley Cooper, and I think they go off. I mean, they're like very marketable, and every man wants to be them, and every woman wants to sleep with them, So you get those type, But for me, I think Samuel L. Jackson is at the height.
Yeah, he's pretty
a
much
legend. He is a legend.
He's dipping his toe in everywhere. He's great. He's great. We love him at Samuel.
Kev mentioned the video game side of things, Bentley. So, like, say with the Division, for example, I'm going to get good some geek points here because I know a couple of people who are really, really into the Division. What can you tell us? Then we've not spoken to that many people who have done voice acting work for video games. So what's the process like on that?
Okay, so the process differs for different actors. For me with the Division, I played about 5 different characters on that video. Yeah. So literally, what you do is you go in the studio and you're in the booth. And you look at a screen and you see a picture of what the character you're going to be voicing looks like. And then you see some animated footage, some rough cut animated footage of how the character walks. Me personally, I have a walk for every character that I voice, So if I haven't met the people in the studio because there's a glass and they're watching me, I would apologize before I start to prep. So I would practice. I would watch the character walking, and I would practice the walk and speak as I'm walking.
Okay.
To get into it. So sometimes, like if he's a lazy character, I might have a little bit of a lean, and I might walk like I have a dead arm or something. Like this arm is dead, and I might just do that and walk in a circle until I make like some sort of mind-body connection with the voice. And then I have to give them different takes of different voices. And when they find one that is as close to the character, because the person that wrote it had a voice in mind. So once they find it, they're going to tell me to keep going with that. Yeah. I keep going with that. And they record it. Then they tell me to stop. And then I leave the studio and I take a break for about 5 minutes. And the reason I take a break is for all the other voices that I've done to get out of my head. So I come back in the studio, and the only clip that they have for me to listen to is the one that they wanted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I go with that. So that's my process for it.
And wow. According to your IMDb, you do many different voices, many different accents. We even read that you've got a high pitched voice, which, speaking to you, I can't see where this comes from.
Well, I think we need to hear it. I really do.
Well, it's because I do a lot of singing, So like my high pitched voice, if I was talking to you like this, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, "Hey, Kev, what's up, man?"
So
you know.
So Bentley just momentarily turned into Kevin Hart there.
Yeah, something like that, you know. I just like to play around with different tones, and you know what I mean.
Awesome. So you want to talk about 2012? Or?
Yeah, let's talk about 2012. Yeah, because I love that show. I absolutely love that show, and W1A as well. But right, so the first thing I need to ask you is, did you get to do any screen time with Olivia Colman? Because I love Olivia Colman. I think she's great.
Yeah. You know. I met her, right? Because I met her at the read through. So we had a read through, round table read through, and I met her there. We had a conversation, and she was worried about her character. I think she was like, she a bit of a perfectionist. She wanted it to. She was, really wanted it to come across really well. So she was kind of like, a bit nervous. But she was fantastic at the read through. I have to say, Hugh Bonneville.
Yeah.
That dude, and I gotta just say this, he is about the best person I've ever worked with. Yeah. I mean, out of everybody I've ever worked with, I think between him, Matt Smith, because I did Doctor Who when Matt Smith was Doctor Who, him, Matt Smith, and Tom Cruise. I think three of them.
Oh yeah, just drop Tom Cruise in there.
Yeah. No, but honestly, I gotta say it though, because it's really seen that stars of project will get that thumbs up and stamp on their character, from fellow actors, maybe lesser actors or whatever. But these three guys, Hugh Bonneville was just amazing, because after you do a take for a scene, and I watch actors and I watch what they do in between takes, because that tells me more about your character as a human being than when you're actually performing. So with Hugh, after a take, if they had to move to a different location and you got the crew moving the cameras and equipment, and Hugh's up there moving the equipment with him.
Nice.
And I'm looking at that, and I'm right behind him moving equipment too. If you're moving equipment, I gotta be moving equipment. So it's just, I think I've always admired and loved humility so much, especially people who are so big. And I honestly think that that's one of the main reasons that I have worked as much as I have, because I think you can be the most talented person in the world, but I think your talent gets you to a certain point, and then, people you work with start to look at your personality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think people that last, I think the people that last the longest are the people that don't fake a personality, that just have that personality and just be yourself, but it comes across like, amazingly.
Cool, man. I mean, we on the last episode we were talking about the fact that I know this is completely irrelevant to what we're talking about, but Tom Cruise kind of has stopped the production of Top Gun 2 because he wants to learn how to fly a fighter jet, like legitimately fly it,
which we both think is just incredible.
Which we think is incredible, and we're literally saying it speaks volumes to the kind of guy he is. Yeah. That. Yes, like it's not just the fact that he's a big star, but they would let him do that, and they would stop the whole production. So I get what you're saying when you say that. It kind of just ties in nicely.
Yeah. I'm sorry, just to sidetrack for a little bit.
Yeah.
I read something on The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and he was filming early in his career, and this was before he was, the big star that he is now. So early in his career, he was filming this. I think it was The Tooth Fairy, where he played a hockey player, and he had a spell where he turned into a fairy or something. And one of the scenes when he was doing when he was skating on ice, he split his Achilles tendon.
Yeah.
And he was out for 9 months. And they were, I think, 3 weeks into shooting before that happened. And you think about it, he was not the big star he is now. So they could have easily got somebody else. They shut it down. They shut it down for 9 months and waited for him. And that's crazy because an Achilles tendon it takes a long time to heal, you know. And they waited for him, and he, you know, healed, and then he came back. And I don't want any of your listeners to jump on me. I hope I've got the movie right. I think it was The Tooth Fairy, but it was one of those. Yeah, I think it was one of those early movies.
That was pretty early on, wasn't it?
Yeah, I won't lie. I rewatched it the other day with the girls.
I've never seen it.
I love it.
Never seen that.
It's one of my favorite.
So good.
It's actually one of my favorite rock movies.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So Bentley. We're here to talk a little bit about Stairs, which is the movie we came down and we saw you filming. But first of all, how did Bentley meet Tom Paton, and how did Pandorica come around, and then the subsequent movies after?
I met Tom through a friend of mine, a friend that I had done some work with early in my career. Actually, it was the first job I ever did in my career. I met this guy. His name is Adam. And it was a short film about a nuclear attack, and what would you do in a nuclear attack? And we had, we filmed it for 3 days, and the shoot was so grueling and tough that, in tough situations you kind of bond closer with people.
Yeah.
So we remained friends since then. And he called me up and sent me a message, and he said, "Listen, I got a script I want to send you. It's about a character that a friend of mine, a good director, writer, is looking to produce his first feature film. He's never done a feature film. He's done, I think he's done a lot of music videos, something like that. And this is his first feature film, so he wants to see, if you'd be right for this character." So I read the script, loved the character. I told him, fine, I'll meet him. So I came down to Central London. I met him, and it was somebody else. I can't remember his name. I think it was, I don't want to get it wrong, so I won't say it. But anyway.
That's the best way. That's the best way.
Yeah. I came in the room, I met Tom. I ran the lines, and I finished the audition. And Tom, he was smiling, and he had a little laugh going on. And at that point, you don't know, because you don't know if he's laughing at you, or if he's just happy. So he says, okay. I said, "Do you want me to do it again?" He says, no need. And I leave. And I long story short, I got the part.
Yeah.
Film Pandorica, which I tell you what I do love about Tom is I personally like challenges. I don't like things to be too easy, because when things are too easy, you don't really grow, Pandorica was a tough shoot, and I loved it. It was nighttime. It was gritty. It was in the forest. Well, it was in like a paintball park or something. But that was a forest. But yeah, so I filmed that, and that came out, and I think he was very happy with my performance in that. Because I had the screening and I met him there, and after Pandorica, Black Site came along. He called me up and he said, as he goes along with these projects, he's picking and sticking with the best people, and it goes back to what I said. Aside from performance, the best people as far as characters that happy to work with, and So Black Site came along, and Black Site is actually where I met Sam. I never knew Sam before Black Site, and met Sam. Did Black Site, another tough shoot, which was amazing, And then we came to Stairs, which is the hardest shoot that that Tom has ever, the most complicated script, the most complicated shoot, and the most fulfilling that I've ever done with him. I honestly believe that the harder the shoot is, the better results you get when the project comes out.
Definitely. Now we visited the site, the set of Black Site, the second movie you did with Tom. How did you get on with those tunnels? Because we hated them.
Oh, with what?
How did you get on with the tunnels? Because we hated them.
Ah, the tunnels. I'll tell you what. The tunnels, man. The tunnels were spooky as hell. Oh, man. It was so cold. It was so spooky. But again, with me, once I got into the character, it actually helped. You know? It helped the character, Chris Johnson.
Yeah.
Chris Johnson did a great job.
Yeah, we've seen Black Side now, and it is an incredible movie. It looks great.
Yeah,
Chris
he did such a good job. Yeah, he's such a great villain, man. Great. Yeah, he did a fantastic job. So with him, and you know what he was bringing to the project, just made my job like 10 times easier. You know.
I do bring Black Side up, and I think you know what I'm going to say here. When we got there, we got to meet Bentley straight away at the food truck. Props to the food lady. That was a fantastic food truck. Yeah. And we went into the tunnels. We're being shown around, and all of a sudden I needed to go for a pee. So So to paint the scene here, these tunnels are like 9 miles long, 20 miles long, dark as hell. The toilet was not very well lit, so I'm in there having a toilet with my phone light on, and then as I'm walking out, there's Bentley stood in the door frame. and if these tunnels aren't scary enough... And I remember going back and telling Chris, you're not going to believe what just happened. I literally just crapped my pants.
Oh, Black Side was fun. I loved it, man.
It was it was great being there. Of course, we came on the most spoilerific day possible.
Yeah.
Best day for it.
Which was also good though, because as we said when we spoke to Sam in the episode that's going to be coming up as well, we got to see like the chemistry that you and Sam had. There was a lot of chemistry going on that day. We had no context for that scene whatsoever because we just turned up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of chemistry going on, and then we got to see. Obviously, I'll not say what happens, but we got to see that scene, and Sam just
doing
absolutely
some proper acting,
bringing her A game
she
and
was great.
smashing it.
Yeah. She did a fantastic job. Yeah,
definitely, man. And then when you watch that movie, again, your chemistry's fantastic. The two of you play really well off each other, so it's no surprise when we come to Stairs, the two of you are running around the fields together.
Yeah.
But
Sam is awesome, man.
She is awesome. She's a badass. But speaking of badasses, we also got to see you doing some set pieces with Phoebe as well that day.
Yeah.
Which was...
We got to see the big stunt with the sword, and that was pretty cool.
Phoebe getting pulled back on the ropes and what have you. But just before we left, we saw you doing the. I think it was you and was it Sam?
Angela?
Was it Angela? Right,
yeah.
With all the henchmen.
Yeah,
that was great. That was an experience to watch.
Yeah.
We got to see a lot that day.
You certainly did.
Yeah.
So when you're coming to a scene like that. You know, where it's really well choreographed.
Yeah.
You know, and you've got people all over the place that you've got to pretend hit in the face. How do you get your head into that space?
With choreographed scenes, because I've played a lot of sports, and muscle memory is pretty it's pretty quick for me to grasp things. So with that, it has a lot to do with your dance partner, because Phoebe was a fantastic dance partner. If you have somebody who's a little bit off, it kind of affects the performance, and the fact I think that Phoebe actually came up with a lot of those moves.
Nice.
Yeah. We're putting the whole choreography together. It was, Phoebe and the stunt coordinator. They went through it, and I said, just let me know whatever you guys have, and I'll be on board. And it was pretty. It was not difficult for me. I'll tell you something. You know what would have been difficult for me is if I was doing that in a room with one person watching.
Right.
That's so weird. The more people you put watching me, the more comfortable I feel. If I was in a room with one or two people watching, I would be so conscious of every move. But once they're more than about 8, 10 people, for me, it's like, okay, this is just home. Let me just go.
I like that.
Yeah.
So it's a case of just, like, get on with it.
So we can't this is horrible. We can't really talk too much about Stairs.
Yeah.
Because I believe that there is a rough cut. Tom mentioned there was a rough cut, but it's not nearly finished yet. Okay. Obviously, we don't want to give away any spoilers, and it's very twisty, turny, mind-bendery kind of movie. Can you tell us a little bit about your character in the movie without giving too much away?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so my character, Garrett. Basically, Garrett is a man that is torn between, how to put this? Okay, he's torn between doing the right thing and also moving the goalpost as he's doing the right thing to satisfy his own personal conscience, Okay. So I'll take this like an example. We three all go into a supermarket, right? And we say, okay, we're gonna go into the supermarket and we're not gonna buy any meat products. And then we go in the supermarket and I see something that I really like, but that has meat in it. And now I change the rules and say, okay, we're not gonna buy meat products from cows. But, every other meat-based should be okay, And I know that's a far-fetched analogy, right? But
I get it.
Yeah, Garrett is he's a mercenary, and he's dedicated to what he does. He believes in the mission, and he believes in the team, and he's the kind of man that would comfortably die for the mission and the team. Now he gets some mixed signals from the leader of the team, and the mixed signals he has begin to have signs of going to compromise the mission. So what he now does is he changes what he feels the objective of the mission is. Mm-hmm. But he's doing it for selfish reasons. So when you watch the film, Garrett comes across as somebody who's the favorite character out of everybody, but he's really not. He's really a selfish guy deep down inside, because he does things for himself, but he wants to be the hero, basically, and he wants to be looked at as the hero. So he has this what I call a false, fake moral compass. So he just wants everybody to look at him like, oh, you know what? I'm the good guy in the group, and that's the basis of my prep for the character Garrett and how I went into that film. I don't know if that answers the question without giving too much.
Does.
Yeah.
It sounds like a really good character to play.
I loved it because something I said to Tom also is I'm very good at playing the characters that are not 100% tough guy all around. Give me a little bit of a little bit of emotion, a little bit of a soft side. I'm very in touch with my soft side. And I'm actually very proud that I'm in touch with my soft side, because I look at an ego as a character flaw.
Yeah.
And if you come out, first of all, I don't believe in the phrase alpha male. I don't believe in that. I think that that's another word for insecurity. If you have to put a label on yourself to say, oh, this is what I'm categorized at. So I asked him, I said, okay, so that means you're Thor and you're, what's the name of the villain in Avengers Infinity War?
Ultron.
Thanos.
Ultron, yeah. Thanos.
No, he was in.
Yeah, that's where that came from. Yeah, you can cut that bit, right?
No, I'm not cutting
that. Damn
it.
Okay, that means you're Thor and you're Thanos. So even if you look at a newborn kid, you're Thanos in that moment. You can't shed a tear. You look at a cute puppy, you can't have some kind of compassion or nothing. And I don't believe that. So those characters that give me, Garrett gave me that. And there was a lot of Garrett's soft side came from Sam's character, Ren.
Yeah.
Because she's like a little sister to him, and she has a past which he was instrumental in that past and her history, you know. So the scene that you guys saw was the acclimatization from everything that had happened between Ren and Gareth. And, you know, that scene that you talked about with Sam bringing her egg. Yeah. So I love the character Gareth, man.
We can certainly tell that. Yeah.
So Stairs was a difficult enough shoot as it was, from what we hear from absolutely everybody involved.
Yeah.
So how much more difficult is it when you throw someone like Toby Osmond in the mix?
I'll tell you what, right? So we're on set, and everybody is, you know, we're like going for it because it's tough. We're in the stairs, and everybody is in like game mode, right? And so, boom, Toby pops up one day, right? And so we're still filming, and I'm thinking, okay, so this is another addition, you know, to the Mercs. You know, we're gonna be like, you know, in the red zone. We're gonna be focused. We're gonna be doing this, right? And Toby comes up, and the first day Toby comes up, right? It was almost like the biggest icebreaker I've ever had in any project. Like, literally, the guy is freaking funny, man. So I don't care how serious you're trying to be. Once we cut in between takes and the stuff he was doing, I was like, okay, I can't keep a straight face.
Yeah, Toby does that to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Yeah, it was great.
He's been on the show a couple of times now. In fact, he's tried to basically rebrand the show into his thing.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's pretty much become the Toby Osmond show. But he just totally derails everything whenever he's on, and it's great. I love it.
Yeah. Toby, I can imagine he will be a fantastic guest for a show like yours. I can just imagine. Yeah.
So do we know? Do we know maybe when Stairs is going to be available, or do we know where it's at, or do we know anything?
I actually don't. I know for a fact it's coming. It's going to be out this year.
Yeah.
I know it will be out this year. It's not going to be out before July. Right, I don't know because Black Site has to come.
Yeah.
And Black Site has to come first. But Stairs is coming out this year.
Actually, on that, I completely forgot to ask. Have you heard about the Black Site animated series that Tom's working on?
No, I have not.
Yes.
No, I have not. Awesome.
Tom's working on an animated series. He basically told us a little while ago, and I think Sam spoke to Sam about it.
Yeah.
And any chance you might get yourself involved in that?
You know what? I would love to. I know that on the film, the Black Site series, you know, the way the story went.
Yeah.
You know what? It all depends on, you know, what direction he wants to go on the animated series. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to be on it just for selfish reasons. You know, it's got to make sense for what he, you know, whatever he's, you know, whatever direction he wants to go in. But Tom knows, you know, I'm always here. You know, whatever he's doing, you know, he's one of my favorites. You know, he really is one of my favorites because he's a very smart guy, you know, and he's very intelligent, and that's one of the biggest reasons he's one of my favorites. So I would an animated series would be pretty amazing. I would imagine it would not be PG though.
I don't think it could be.
Hopefully not.
Yeah,
no, we don't want that.
I think he was talking about it in the style of you know, the animated show Tokyo Ghoul. And Castlevania on Netflix. Those were the kind of two shows that he referenced as sort of the style, which I just think for Black Site would work.
Yeah.
It would look gorgeous.
Yeah.
100%.
So
awesome.
Hopefully we'll be talking about that soon.
Sure.
So we're going to let you go in a moment, Bentley, but before we do, I want to quickly ask you about Vengeance 2 with Stu Bennett.
Sure.
I kept seeing some little bits and pieces popping up on social media. This movie looks pretty, well, for lack of a better phrase, batshit nuts.
Yeah. It's dope as hell, man.
It's great.
Vinnie Jones was in it.
Yeah.
He literally played my boss. Yeah, nice. So I was his right hand man, Renner. Stu Bennett played John Gold, who was it's literally a movie about revenge.
Yeah.
So it's Stu Bennett's character and Vinny's character were contract mercenaries, and they did some work in the past. Stu went right, Vinny went left. Vinny did some things that compromised Stu. So eventually, there was rumors that Vinny's character was no longer, but that turned out to be false. And they meet up again, and the whole movie is based on Stu's character, John Gold, trying to get revenge against Vinny's character, Sean Teague. Yeah, and I am the character I played in Vengeance 2 was pretty amazing because he's a tough guy, but he's a psycho, right?
Yeah.
So he looks up to Stu's character, and Stu's character is like an idol of his. So he's so excited that he gets to kill his idol. That's how he thinks, So he's a bit of a nutter, And there was a lot of that script had a lot of very great comedic moments in it that my character had, and I was really happy with that. And Ross Boyzak, the producer, the director, he was very giving, because he would let you improvise, he would let you do certain things, and I think with comedy, with me personally though, it kind of works when I'm given a little bit of room, not to veer too much off the script, but just to try certain things that I might see that might work, So that movie was very interesting, very interesting. One of the guys that was on our team was a guy called Joe Egan.
Yes.
Yeah. He used to be a heavyweight boxer. Apparently, he was Mike Tyson's sparring partner for like many years, and he in himself is a character in himself. So yeah, that was a fun experience, man. I had a blast on that film.
Yeah, I kept seeing the social media, like the behind the scenes videos and everything, and I think the guys at Britflix did a little video about it as well.
Yeah,
it looks pretty good. Like, I'm quite excited to see that, and I believe a guy we've been talking about recently, Jean-Paul Lee, is also in the movie as well. He is incredible.
Yeah, he is incredible. Yeah.
Oh yes, he is. Yeah.
Yeah, he did a fight scene. Apparently, his fight scene was the best fight scene in the whole film.
It stands to reason.
Because the guy he was fighting was actually a professional wrestler.
Oh, nice.
So you had Jean-Paul Lee, who's trained in martial arts, and you had a professional wrestler. And I didn't see the fight scene, but that was the talk of the day when they did their fight scene. Yeah, so that was
looking forward to seeing that then.
Sweet. Yeah, we're gonna have to see that.
Definitely. I just want to quickly ask you about that because it looks great.
Awesome.
So things are looking really rosy for Bentley, and you've got a lot of projects on the go. Do you have anything exciting coming up that we can get any exclusives on?
Sure. I have a film that I was sent, the script that I was sent months ago, right after I did Stairs. I was sent this script by a production company in LA. And basically, you've seen the film Justice League.
Yeah.
Okay, so the character Cyborg on Justice League is the character that I'm going to be playing in this film. So he's like a half man and a half machine.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's like a failed experiment of an AI, artificial intelligence prototype that they tried to, have some like test subjects, and everybody else went through, but I failed, so I'm half AI, half human. And that film, the story is literally, it's like me and I'm guarding a little girl through the whole film.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The little girl is the star of the film, and that film is actually going to have a second part.
Nice.
So yeah, I've signed up for part 1 and 2. I should start filming that probably mid-year. They're getting themselves together, and they're going to come back with the, start date and everything. So that's like one of the things that I'm doing this year. I also just started voicing the lead in a video game called Zombie Army 4.
Ah, right, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it's set back in the Confederacy times, and the character I'm playing is a guy called Josiah, and he's basically like a younger Samuel L. Jackson, right? So he has like the the gun with the bayonet, the old times, and he has the little war hat with the overalls, and and it's about him just killing zombies, and I've done the first few sessions of that, and that should run. I think that's running until about March. It's about 5-6 hour voiceover sessions, which are pretty intense, man. Yeah. Yeah. So those are like the two things off the top of my head, and of course something else that I'm probably be going to do in Panama, where I play like a legal prosecutor. I think it's a 7-part series, and what I can say about that is it's about a murder, and I'm trying to locate somebody that I think it's related to like the Me Too movement.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So like somebody who went and murdered 2 girls, and it's me. I'm the chief prosecutor, and I have an assistant, and we're trying to go through the case to figure out what happened. So that's something that if it does get 100% confirmed, I'll be starting that next week.
Cool.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty challenging role again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very of the moment as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But, busy. But in the meantime, if you do want to see Bentley, I mean, you can go and watch any movie that's got any great actor in it, and he'll be in there. You can also, I believe it's towards the tail end of March that we're getting Black Site released.
Yeah, heard that. Yeah.
And then obviously they look out for the Stu Bennett movie and the Vinnie Jones movie, Vengeance 2, which I'm definitely looking forward to. And of course Stairs, which some point this year we will be getting, which we can't wait to see.
Oh yeah.
Because from what we got to see, it looks like Tom has taken the level he was at, and just because we said this when we saw Pandorica, we saw Redwood, and then when we came to the set of Black Site, we kept saying to everyone, "Oh my God, he's like this is like another level altogether." and then we came to Stairs, and we see the tanks, the artillery,
pulled up in the car, and helicopters there, and there's holy shit,
firing off guns. Chris is falling arse over tit in a video. It had to be mentioned, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris is just waiting to see his cameo role, to be fair. Yeah. But it's like he's gone from the level he was at Black Site, and he's gone to a whole another level, and we can't wait to see what Stairs looks like.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, so proud of him. Yeah.
This is a man on the rise, and we're so glad to finally get to speak to you, Bentley.
Awesome.
I mean, I'm going to go back and watch all these movies again and say there he is.
I actually did that before. I actually went on to Netflix because they did have 2012 in there, but they bloody well removed it. So I was going to watch the 2 episodes of 2012 that year before I came up, but I'll find it.
And we didn't even get to talk about Red Dwarf.
Oh, balls.
Damn. But it's all good. It's all good.
Yep.
So, Bentley, we're not going to take too much more of your time. Again, we're going to be keeping an eye on you. We will promote anything we possibly can. You're welcome back anytime. This has been a blast.
Do you ever wonder when Spider-Man goes to the bathroom if the toilet paper sticks to his fingers?
Do you ever wonder why Superman wears his underwear outside of his pants?
My name is Imran.
My name is Anthony.
He's the Jock.
And he's the Nerd.
And we're your hosts for the Jock and Nerd podcast, where we sometimes try to attempt to answer these questions.
This is a full spoiler podcast, and we swear a lot.
Check it out for awesome geek news, interviews, and comic book reviews. Visit jockandnerd.com. We are your superhero TV, movies, and comic book culture curators.
Boom.
Jockandnerd.com. Jock and Nerd.
Great time speaking of Bentley.
I love Bentley.
Yeah.
And the that laugh when he starts talking about Toby is 1,000,000% the response I thought I was going to get. Because everybody seems to be having that. I guess we put a lot of onus on Toby because we've had him on the show a lot, and we do love the guy. So it's kind of like we're trying to get out of everybody who's he playing in Game of Thrones, but he's not giving up.
It's not happening. You may as well just wait 6 weeks and find out.
Yeah.
And if he gets killed in the first 30 seconds of episode 1, I'm going to be pissed off.
Yeah, they might Tom Hopper him.
They might.
Yeah.
They might.
I think he's going to be a dragon.
You think Toby's going to be a dragon?
Yeah.
I'll be okay with that.
I think he'll be the voice of...
the Ice Dragon.
The Ice Dragon. And he's going to be like, I'm the only one left.
And then he does the Toby laugh.
That one.
No, not that one. Yeah, so that was the first...
Part 1 in the bag.
First of the Stairs episodes, mind you. There are more to come.
Yeah.
Great time speaking to Sam and to Bentley, of course. And
we've got some absolute.
That's the first of the Stairs specials.
We got some great stuff coming.
We certainly do. And I think that's about it. Will we be back soon?
Yeah.
With Stairs 2.
Stairs 2.
Oh shit!
Don't put that in his head. Don't put that in his head, dude.
It's got to be already there. Yeah.
Yeah. He's already thinking about like the next 12. He's gonna Hunger Games that shit.
Oosh. Oh no, don't that.
No.
Not Hunger Games.
Maze Runner.
Yeah, we'll go with that one.
Maze Stairs. Oh, slight spoiler.
Don't be such a twat.
Okay,
okay.
I'm sorry. But yeah, we will be back for another Stairs. The regular schmegular will be back as well. The Indie Talk will be back. Chris and I will be back talking all things movies and all things entertainment. But mostly Stairs.
And stuff.
And stuff.
Yep.
We love Stairs.
Right. Done.